Hi, I'm DebDedrick, high performance life and business coach, and your expert guide to leading a happy life. Here with episode number 133, How to Navigate Life's Unexpected and Unhappy Moments. I think we could all use a little help with that. I certainly don't remember getting any instruction when I was a kid on how to deal with grief, how to deal with loss, how to deal with passing of our loved ones. I guess it was just kind of expected I would know how to deal with it. And I think the first experience I had with that, I was kind of old. I was like 20, and it was my grandma, and I had to deal with that, and I didn't have a lot of support for that. So I thought this might help you by giving you some frameworks so you can get through those times. And the reason I'm bringing this up is we just had this happen to our family this week, completely unexpected loss of our granddad, completely out of the blue. We were not expecting it. Everybody was completely blindsided, and I wanted it, and I noticed and watched how everybody dealt with it in their own way, and I wanted to maybe give you guys some ways that you could deal with those really unexpected and unhappy moments in life that we all are going to have to go through, that sadly most of us are not given any tools to use to help make it a little easier. So I'm going to start with number one. When these things happen, you must stay calm. If you get yourself all in a frenzy and you get yourself all panicked, that triggers all these chemicals in your body that kind of explode and make you feel way worse and really deplete your nervous system and make you very susceptible to getting sick. And staying calm, I know that's like really hard to do, but I think if you find yourself getting in a panic, getting yourself emotionally overwrought, maybe you're crying a lot and your heart's starting to race, just try to think about what you're doing and calm yourself down. Take some deep breaths, breathe through your nose and let it out through your mouth. Just and calm, try the best you can, because getting emotional doesn't help you, and it certainly doesn't help everybody else around you. You know, they say that everybody mirrors each other's moods. So if you can be the role model and stay calm, even though you know you're upset and you know it's a very upsetting time, but that'll go a long way to helping navigate the moment. And number two, if you're watching other people and you feel that they're getting upset, and just listen. Just try to listen without judging or interrupting, and be watchful. Be a role model for them. Stay calm. Let them look to you for support. And another thing, if somebody is getting out of control and somebody is getting worked up, don't judge them and don't try to make them do something different. That's just going to blow up in your face. So, I mean, I know you can stay calm, you can manage your emotions, but you're not going to be able to only by you staying calm. You're not going to be able to make somebody else feel different or be different. The only thing that you can do in this situation is role model the way. And when these moments come up, try to remember in your mind's eye the happy times. I found when I started going down that rabbit hole of, the depression and the overwhelm and, oh, I should have done this or I should have done that, I felt all these emotions washing over me that were negative and sad and pulling me down into something that I couldn't change. And so redirecting my mind from that rabbit hole of depression and sadness back into remembering, all the good times that we had together, all the happy times, all the things that he would have wanted me to experience during this time. He wouldn't have wanted me getting emotionally and overwrought and upset and beating myself up for this or that. He wouldn't have wanted that. I wouldn't want that for my loved ones. So staying in the moment of the happy moments, if you feel you're not going to be able to undo what's happened. You're not going to be able to bring that person back. But what you can do is honor their memory by thinking of their happy moments and happy times together. And then the final thing is pray. I believe in faith. Faith has got me through so many tough moments in my life. Faith in myself, faith in my ability to deal with things, and faith in the Lord, and faith in the way, we lost our granddad and he was 87, and he lived a rich full life. And the beauty of the way he lived is he lived it on his own terms. He died on his own terms. He got up. He had Leslie, his daughter, which they have lived side by side for so much of their life. I mean, he's had such a wonderful life. His wife was right there. The three of them drove in town, and she dropped him off to go to Anytime Fitness, and he walked in there. He had his jacket on. He got on his treadmill and he started walking. I mean, that's the way he lived his life. He's the only person other than me that I know of that's been a lifelong athlete, and he started his day just like that. He'd had his breakfast. He had Leslie take him in. He got on the treadmill. He did his workout. She came back to pick him up, and she brought the car up by the door. He walked out and got in the car, and they were going to go get something to eat. And all of a sudden, just that quickly, his little heart just probably had a little too much that day, and his little heart just started beating really hard. And he turned to her and he said, I think I need to go to the hospital. Can you get me to the Lutheran? And so they took off for the Lutheran, and poor Leslie's driving in the car, and Nana is in the back seat. And all of a sudden, he started having a major heart attack. And Leslie's so great. She turned the car around and got him to the hospital, and they took him in, and they diagnosed that he needed to go to another hospital. And so they loaded him on the stretcher. And this is where I feel kind of bad. As I was going into the emergency room, he was going out, but his head was turned to this way. And you know how that you have this intuition? I saw him there and I thought, no, you're not going to say anything. And I should have stopped right there. I should have took his hand and I should have said, we'll meet you up there. But I didn't. I missed that moment. So for you, don't miss those moments. So then I went on in, and they told me that they were taking him up to the hospital and they were going to put a stent in. So I went back out and got my car, and I drove up to the other hospital, which was about a 40-minute drive. Got up there, parked in the driveway, actually the parking lot, and they sent me a text and they said they had just taken Granddad into surgery. And so I just assumed it was going to be a simple surgery. I mean, he'd had stents before, maybe 10 or 15 years ago. And so I thought, he'll just get the stent in. I'll go in about an hour, and then it'll be all good. And so about 5 minutes later, I get a text from David, maybe 10. And David said, where are you? And I said, well, I'm in my car. And David called me. David is his son, and I work with David here. And he called me in. He said, where are you? And I said, I'm sitting out in the parking lot in the car. I'm just ready to come in. And he said, I just wanted to let you know that that Dad has passed. And I was like, what? I was totally shocked. I was not expecting that. And I had to ask him 3 times. And so then it really hit me. Dad was gone. And I'm like, well, then that's where I was talking about, where you get all this recriminations, and that didn't do any good. And so that's kind of what happened to us this week. And then I went into the room and he was there, and then from there, the ripples of telling everybody and getting everything set up. And tomorrow we're going to have the viewing and the funeral on Sunday. But for those of you that have been following me all along, Nana and I have been doing the videos way back from when, and this is the granddad that we used to always talk about. So Nana's doing okay. She was blindsided just like the rest of us, but she will be fine. She has all of us around us. And that's another thing. Family can support each other and be there for each other. So I'm going to wrap today's video up, episode 133, How to Navigate Unexpected Unhappy Moments in Life, just by going back over. Remember to stay calm. Don't get flooded emotionally. I'm getting a hot flash. It's been a really tough week. Getting very upset's not good for your body. It's not good for anybody else. So try to be the role model for others who maybe don't have as much awareness of how to control their emotions and manage their states, and role model for others. So think about that when you begin to get emotional. I found myself getting that way a couple times, but then I thought, no, I'm not going there. Number 2, try to just listen and watch. You don't have to be telling everybody to, doing this and doing that. Just try to listen and let other people make the decisions on what to do and how they want to handle. If they aren't doing what you think they should be doing, that's okay. You don't have to judge, and you don't have to have any expectations for others. Some people deal with these moments way better than others. And that's okay. That's their prerogative. Um, Learning to focus on the happy times instead of going down that rabbit hole of I wish I could have or should have. That's not going to help. It's not going to change what's happened. And finally, wrapping this all up, remembering the happy times, focusing on the happy times that you shared together as a family. Those really help me a lot, especially in moments when I'm feeling stressed. All I do is close my eyes and I just go back in my mind's eye to those moments like where I was most happy. And for me, the moments I was most happy, I can remember with Granddad having this big argument because he loved to compost, and I've been an avid gardener my whole life, and I wanted some compost that he'd made. I mean, he had this big, huge pile. And I said, hey, can I have some of your compost? And he literally said, no. And I said, you're not going to share your compost with me? I could not believe it. But he was a hoarder of compost. I think in the long run I got some. But looking back now, isn't that silly? So, and he loved gardens. He had the biggest garden I've ever seen in my whole life. I mean, we always had way too many tomatoes, which were so good. He loved Concord grapes, the Concord grapevines. I loved those. He loved having chickens run around out in his yard. And in his earlier days, he used to have his own beef and cattle. I remember one time he grew these peppers, and I went out back and I grabbed one of the peppers, and he didn't tell me it was a hot pepper. So I took this big bite of this pepper, and that was the hottest pepper I've ever had. So the pepper gets in my mouth, and I start choking. I mean, I'm literally choking. And I ran into the house, and the only thing I threw open their fridge, and the only thing I could see was a beer. So I grabbed this beer and I chugged this beer. I mean, I'm chugging the beer. The beer is like going all over my chest, and so I'm chugging this beer. And I come out, and I'm still choking. So I go over and I hang over the sink, and I'm drinking all this water, trying to not die from choking on one of his peppers. So, and also, Granddad's worked alongside us here at our machine shop forever. He started this business here at Dedrick Tool and Die. Him and his son. He built it from the ground up. He added all of the equipment. It was his passion, and he made the best parts. And then when he helped me take it over, he always supported me. He he ran parts for us until a few years ago when he couldn't. I mean, he just was, that was his passion. This was his passion. He lived his passion. And so that's the way I want to leave off remembering Granddad. He lived most of his life living his passions. And I want you to think in your mind's eye, what are your passions? What are you most excited about? And are you living your life that way? And if not, maybe it's time to make a few changes. So thank you so much for joining me today on today's episode. I really appreciate you joining me. I hope these help you. It's my mission to help you have a happier life, to create the life that you want, either in your business or in your personal life, because for me, they overlap. So you can have a happy life. We're only here for a short term. So until my next video, go out in the world and be a positive role model and influencer for good. Go over and see me on my YouTube channel or my Facebook page. And you have a great, great weekend. Thanks.